The Muny is always searching for ways to improve itself and the entertainment it brings to hundreds of thousands of fans every summer. Today, it is one of the wonders of the theater world.
During that first summer in 1919, Muny leadership made a change in the season lineup rather late in the game. Two of the operas being performed, Carmen and Fra Diavolo, were two of the oldest pieces of repertory in the season. And the public, well, they were interested in new shows. So the Muny swapped these two pieces for more recent operas, The Chimes of Normandy and The Wizard of the Nile. The people spoke, and the Muny listened. New ideas take time to grow, but as the culture changes, so does the Muny.
I think something that we've done well here since our beginning, and still we do that today, is simply that we listen.
The Muny was always present tense in the vocabulary. It always was. The notion that the Muny didn't do contemporary work was something I never understood that people believed. Because when I looked at the history, it was all over the place. Audiences at the Muny came to see all kinds of things.
But I think what is important always to remember, which the Muny, thank God, has remembered or is conscious of, is that the audience is changing too. You know, the productions aren't coming out from outer space someplace, they're coming out of the consciousness of the country.
With 100 years of history behind it, the Muny has seen many different periods of theater. As the culture evolves, this theater in Forest Park works to honor tradition while still pushing the form forward.
Historically, this place lived on operetta for 30, if not 40 years. If you ask people in that area, like, well, we're never going to stop doing operetta, you know, it evolves based on where the form is, and that is a direct relationship to Broadway.
In 1943, a new set of voices landed on Broadway and changed the course of musical theater history forever. Longtime Muny lovers Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein opened the Paramount hit Oklahoma. The duo went on to create a host of new shows that dominated both Broadway and the Muny repertoire throughout the 50s and 60s. Carousel, The King and I, South Pacific, and more are considered classics today, but were wildly innovative in their time.
I think the work becomes trying to stay in touch with what the public wants and push them forward. So it's a constant thing of introducing new things to the audience, being brave enough as producers or whomever to keep it moving forward. Because even when you go all the way back there, I think people forget that some of those shows, retrospectively, were pushing the envelope even then.
As the landscape of musical theater shifted, the Muny learned to adapt. In the 70s and 80s, they brought in dance companies, orchestras, and popular talent for one-night concerts.
How do you also make your theater more than just a venue, but a destination, more than just a business, but an institution? And I think you do that by really creating a real relationship between the space and the people that come here. If you look back at our history, those times where there was additional programming here, whether it was music, concerts, different festivals and fairs around the property. This place belongs to this is St. Louis's, not just theater. This is 11 acres in the best park in the country. And St. Louis gets to enjoy this no matter how you want to be a part of it.
But soon, new voices emerged in musical theater and sparked another generation of classic shows.
It all changed in the 80s. There's a period in the 80s where they gave up together and there were dance troupes and stuff. You see this whole era where they're trying to figure out how are we? And you know, particularly for the 80s and 90s, what you have to understand is most of the 80s, Broadway was a ghost town. I mean, there weren't that many big hit shows. That's when you sort of get the British invasion and Andrew Lloyd Webber and Cameron McIntosh and all that. There was a gap to fill. There was a new idea of a musical and spectacle, and they were wildly successful.
Then you move to jumping maybe to the British, you know. I think some of those shows play better here than they do anywhere. You know, Les Mis, I was in one year here. It's almost like it's made for the Muny. You know, Cats is interesting in a sense because where you kind of had to use more imagination with the costuming and so forth. At the Muny, we really looked like cats. You know, there were these little cats running around on the stage. It was really great.
Musical theater continues to evolve today. New voices are sprouting up from all backgrounds, and the Muny evolves with the form.
The Muny has done a great job of evolving with our society. I feel like they should go side by side, right? And so I just want more of that. And that tradition, I don't know, maybe my son will say I'm like an old fart one day, but like I want him to have the experience that I had, you know, because it is so special.
Fortunately now, because we are in a rich period of musical theater in terms of Broadway, there's a lot of interesting new shows that people are reinvesting in some of the classics, you know, so it's a broader selection.
I think the Muny keeps adapting and keeps changing. Thank you. And not only just in terms of the artistic, but the sensibility, you know, the things that have changed in the culture. When you start having Kinky Boots and Rent and things like that, you're speaking to a very different cultural mindset than Sigmund Romberg or Hello Dolly. You know, it's a different time.
The Muny has moved through many periods of entertainment and has emerged with several eras itself, from operettas to Rogers and Hammerstein, from showboat to a chorus line. The Muny honors its traditions by remaining ever present in the moment. Today, the Muny holds true to its values by continually evolving. It remains the same by constantly changing. Our culture shapes the stories that we tell, and the Muny faithfully shares them all. Over 100 years later, and the Muny still sings the songs of today. As Jonathan Larson reminds us, there is no day but today.
We want this to be the heartbeat of the community.